Welcome to the Mind Vine podcast, where we challenge the stigma associated with mental illness through conversations about a variety of issues impacting mental health. Here we bring you news, views, and interviews that intrigue, educate, and celebrate recovery. Leading us on this journey are the hosts of the Mind Vine podcast, Darryl Mathers and Chris Bovie.
So we are filming an episode of the Mind Vine podcast, and we are here with a couple of special guests and with my co-host Chris Bovie. I'm Darryl Mathers, and we are at the Recovery Art Show opening. Today is the first day, and we're lucky enough to have Amanda O'Keefe, a staff on Ontario Shores, and Martha Hopkins, one of our patient artists who's featured in the exhibit today. And we're going to talk a lot about the relationship between art and recovery. But first, maybe Amanda, you can tell us a little bit about what the Art Recovery Show is all about.
Absolutely. So this is our second annual art showcase. So we started it last year, and it's evolved into something amazing, as you can tell. Look around. But we encourage and we ask inpatients and outpatients to submit a piece that reflects or has meaning to recovery, and it can be any type of media or form for art. So it can be paintings, it can be written, it can be a poem, it can be mixed media, photography, anything that has a personal message to what recovery means to them. And we have, I think, probably maybe 40 pieces this year, and it's a variety of mixed media, paintings, poetry. We even have photography, small, big.
When you go through the process of gathering these pieces and working with patients, like what's the process like it's probably different for every patient as they're going through it, but can you give us a little background and maybe of how the patients kind of work through the art process and get to this point where they have pieces to display?
Honestly, it's very individually based. So some I met for the first time. I've never even met some of the artists. A lot have been done in our art programs through Ontario Shores. But there was probably particularly maybe 8 artists that I've never met up until today, and I actually got to speak with them, and it was really interesting to hear the process. Like for some, it was actually a little bit difficult. So we have a poem, and it was creative writing, and they said that they really, really wanted to share their story, but was always very scared to kind of put it out there. And just the fact of having to put creative writing behind it made it a lot easier to share it. Some really, really enjoyed it. They were very happy to share it, but even for some of, like I said, the other pieces, the piece right here behind us, I'm not sure if it can be captured on the video, but this artist in particular was very nervous to share it. But then when she got here today and got the feedback, she's like, I don't want to sell it, and if I do sell it, I want to make sure that it's here on display so people can see it and it can make a difference if it has that big of an impact. So it was really incredible. But I think for myself, it was nice to see that process today and to see the thoughts and the feelings and the meaning put behind the pieces.
Did you find that you can get patients that may not consider themselves artists? I mean, art is just self-expression, and did you, some people may think, well, I don't have any background in art, so I wouldn't participate, but really, are you seeing more people willing to explore this and try it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that even outside of the Recovery Art Showcase, we see that a lot in the Art Cafe program, right? Absolutely. So people for the first time that come to the program, a lot of people are intimidated. They're like, oh no, I can't do art. Are you kidding me? I can't draw, I can't paint. And for me, that's one of the things that I'm most passionate about, because I'm extremely passionate about art, and I don't paint and I don't draw, but I love the process and I love the creative outlet of it. But when they come and they sit down for the first time and they're like very nervous, very scared, there's obviously some negative feelings like I'm not going to be able to do this. And then after they leave and they see what they could produce, they're just like, okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought, and I'm very impressed. And there's a sense of pride that becomes behind it. So yeah, you don't have to be artistic. There doesn't have to be a skill. Martha can speak to that.
Yeah, Martha's got a great story.
Absolutely.
We talked a couple days ago about how you were kind of pushed into
no, let's use the word encourage.
Encouraged. You were encouraged
Gently
to get
pushed.
involved in art.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was in a program, and one of the recreation therapists was very encouraging repeatedly and kept saying, give it a try. I think this is something that you'd enjoy. And I said, I've never even doodled a picture on the side of a notebook, nothing. And I said, I don't think I have any talent at all. And she said, give it a try. If you don't, at least you tried. So I slowly but surely came around to it, and I enrolled in the art cafe, and Amanda pegged it absolutely right when she said the first class you walk in and you're thinking, this is going to be embarrassing, I'm going to feel foolish, I can't do anything. And then everything changes, because it's not what you do, it's why you're doing it. And it's how it makes you feel. It can make you sad, it can make you happy. But it's just another way of expressing yourself. Like, instead of talking, it even gets you thinking about different things, or pictures or images of things. And we have an artist in the classroom that co-facilitates with Amanda, who is a very quiet, calm person, and doesn't put himself out there to people unsolicited, so to speak. But if you want some direction or ideas or thoughts, I'd like to do this or that, he's amazing. It's like he can see inside your head and know what you're trying to put down. But I absolutely love Art Cafe. It's made a huge difference for me in my recovery in my life. I sketch at home all the time now. I'm passionate about working with charcoal, but I've done a little bit of sculpting. I've done some watercolors and different pencil work and whatnot. It's amazing what you can put down, that whether it means something to anybody else or not, it does to you. And if someone else clicks to it and appreciates it, I'm absolutely amazed. But I'm also a little bit flattered too.
And you're the one strongly encouraging people.
I tell everybody go to it.
She's the reason why we have a wait list for our program.
Honestly, I truly believe that art therapy is amazing for everyone. I have no idea why you two don't take it too. You would love it. It's amazing.
I think too is that the message that we want to get across is that anybody can do it. So in our art program, we offer a variety of choice. So even just like coloring, mandalas, like that's the most therapeutic thing anybody can start with.
Yeah.
Like, it's so calming just to sit and to be focused and to be so attentive to the detail, and yet the outcome is absolutely beautiful. So I think it's like we don't want to send the message that you need to be able to draw, you need to be able to paint. Like, it's just like what Martha said, it's the process of what's happening and what's going around, like what's taking place when the person's doing it. I think for myself, for my art program, I think the most rewarding thing is that, and I love to talk, and I'll set up the supplies and I'll get people started, and then it's like quiet, nobody's saying a word, and I'm just like, I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing. I don't like silence, but just how people are so immersed and so absorbed and so focused, you cannot break their attention. It's like that sense of flow, right? It's something meaningful, which is incredible. Yeah.
We know there are people that are visual learners. Do you find there are a lot of people, like, it's hard for me to express how I'm feeling in actual words.
Yep.
But through art, I can just put it out there.
Yep.
I can just show the things I'm dealing with, or my unique view of something.
Absolutely. I think so. I think even like colors. Yeah. Colors have, they attach a meaning to a mood or a particular feel, but I just think it's less intimidating when they do it, right? So, talk therapy is great. So it's like, tell me what you think about this. But if you give me a task, or if you tell me to do something, now I'm going to start talking to you a little bit more, and I'm going to be able to show you how I feel because I have something I'm proud of. I think so, anyhow, for the visual part. Eh, Martha?
I agree.
Yeah.
And what you were just saying makes sense to me, because I somewhat like to talk myself, but there are certain things that I can't even think of the words to put it out there or get the message across, but I can draw something, and whether you get it or not, I'm not sure, but I feel good about the fact I actually put it on a piece of paper. Yeah. And I think getting the message out there, whether it's received or not, getting it out there is the main thing, and that really works sometimes instead of words.
That's great. And I mean, art, I was involved with art growing up too, and I remember the Group of Seven and the Michael collection. That was one of the things I was introduced, but I remember going and seeing that and seeing the different artists looking at the same thing, but everybody presented it in a different way. And it clicked to me that we all see things differently.
Yeah, we do.
Right? And to be able to express yourself, and there's no right or wrong in art, it's just expression.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We see that when we do like paint nights. Are you familiar with those paint night events? So for our art cafe, we'll do 1 and 3 where we present, everybody paints the same image. It's the only class that we present, okay, we're going to all do the same image. But, so there may be 15 people in the class, and we may do a lighthouse scene, and all the lighthouse scenes look completely different. And so absolutely you're bang on.
Yeah.
Perception.
For sure.
One of the things that stands out from last year's Recovery Art Show, which was the first year that we did it, was one of the paintings that was highlighted was of an artist who was in his 70s, and he was encouraged to explore art to help with his memory, the development of his memory, and the detail, I guess, would help in terms of that work. And the work that he
Does is incredible.
The finished product was amazing, and to see somebody who hadn't been involved in art all those years, and then in a relatively short period of time producing some incredible work, like is that? I mean, looking around the art gallery today, like it's not an uncommon story, I don't believe.
No. And actually, that's the person that co-facilitates the art program, and all credit to that person, because they are the reason and why I've kind of come discover this passion of art. And it's actually interesting, I'd like to share the story, but how the art cafe started was that I was introduced to this person, and I had to do an assessment to get them involved in central recreation programs. So I met this person, I went to the unit, and I gave him our program calendar. And I'm like, okay, so these are some of the programs that we do. And he's like, oh, well, leisure arts. What's that leisure arts about? I'm like, well, we kind of do like crafts, do-it-yourself projects. He's like, oh, okay, I like art, but come with me. I want to show you my collection of art. So I'm like, okay. And he shows me this portfolio of all of his work. And I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, and how long have you been doing this? He's like, 1 year. I'm like, no, I don't believe you. There's no way that you just did this in 1 year. And he's like, yes, I'm going to show you. And he shared with me how he started. I taught myself by a cup, and I sketched it. And he convinced me, anybody can do this. Don't get caught up in the aesthetics of it, that it looks like this. Anybody can do this. And guess what? We're going to start a program, and I'm going to show you. And I'm like, okay. And I was still skeptical. I'm like, I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't know how we're going to get people to these. And myself, as a facilitator, I was still stuck on it has to look a certain way, but completely inspiring, changed my whole perspective on the process. And we've been doing it that was almost 3 years, actually. Almost 3 years, yeah. And comes in on a regular basis and teaches people if they want to advance their skill, but again, keeps it very informal on that it's the process and it's therapeutic and we're going to have fun with it, and I want this to be what you want. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and I apologize for getting political,
Sorry.
but that's what I tend to do a lot. So.
Sorry.
No, I just...
Among other things.
Among other things, but we know the therapeutic benefits of art, and I want to go back, because it seems like our high schools, the first thing that gets cut are art programs.
Oh, absolutely.
And just from your perspective, I mean, we're seeing it maybe not for the therapeutic benefits and for young people to express themselves. How important is it to have art programs back in the school system for young people?
I think it's huge. I really do. I think, oh my goodness, how do I say this? Art, music, physical fitness, I think that it's an opportunity for them to be who they are. I think that's their outlet of how they express. And oh my goodness, I'm lost for words. I'm afraid that I'm going to get too heated. I don't know how to say the right thing.
You're right.
I think it's important. I think that it shouldn't be seen. So here's my perspective, is that I think art and music, they're the things that get looked at, oh, it's for fun. It's an activity, right? And I think there's lots of therapeutic benefits that come of an art program, a music, a gym program, just as well as physics, chemistry. You know, there's lots of emphasis on those. But I think for your arts and musics, just because I think they get viewed as too much as that they're just for fun, it's an activity, that they're being rewarded. They're not here to learn that. They're here to learn math and numbers and science. And I think the skills that come from an art program are incredible, and they're the skills that can be transferred over when they go into university or they enter adulthood.
Well, even the example of like Martha being involved at Ontario Shores, art, music, physical fitness, they're considered components of therapy.
Absolutely.
Right? Like they're not, much like physics and other subjects in school, they don't stand alone. Treatment and medication do not stand alone on Ontario Shores. There's all sorts of different programs to support a person's recovery. And I was wondering, Martha, from your perspective, like that variety, like having the options, like you're somebody who's heavily involved in the hospital in different programs and services, is that having that variety of options available to you important when you're going through your recovery journey?
Absolutely. In my case, I highly value what I call the academic subjects. Teach me, inform me, make me better understand myself. All of those are hugely important, and they're the foundation, if you will, that give me the knowledge that I need to move forward. But there's something else. That's a good part of life. And of course, medications and things like that, they're a necessary component for all of us. And that's about life. But now I want to talk about living, which is totally different. If you give me something physical to do, to teach me, whether it's a sport, anything in our recreation department, everybody will find something. For some, it might even be as simple as watching. But that's important, the physical activity. When it comes to music or art, that's what speaks to passion. Yes, fun too. You don't have to be passionate about it to have fun, but for a lot of people that will drive it. And people face a lot of challenges here and have a lot of struggles. And anything that will put a smile on their face, anything that will pull out that passion that their life or their world didn't have time for, didn't think was important, it's important. Art is huge for a lot of people. And whether you make one little mark on a piece of paper, the fact that you did it and you recognize that you did it is a huge accomplishment. If you can create something magnificent, I mean, some of my colleagues, I'm just blown away why they're not in the ROM or something like that. I see things that are absolutely amazing. It's the same for everybody. It's just the appreciation you see in anything you create. The same thing for some with music as well. It speaks to the things you truly enjoy and are passionate about, and it's something that's just as important as everything else. There does have to be a balance, as you said, but that part of life is hugely important.
I wanted to ask you, and I think I know the answer, but I want to ask you and hear it from your words. But since you've started doing this, just as you walk around and see life, do you see it from an artist's perspective now? Do you walk around and say, that would be amazing? Or do you see it from a different lens? Just everyday life.
A lot of things, yes.
Yeah.
She's already like gearing up for ideas for other projects all the time, constantly.
That's true, I am. I have ideas for next year's art show too, if you're interested.
This could be an exclusive when you share it.
All right, let's not tell them anything more. Then they have to tune in next time.
Sounds good.
So just getting back to the art show, maybe wrapping up, having the art program and the art cafe and the paint nights, that's great. Is having an art show like this to kind of, as their signature event for the year, the celebration that we just had, celebrating recovery, how important is that in this whole process? Both of you can answer, or one of you is at least.
I don't know. I think I'm just proud. I'm very proud. A lot of work went into creating them, a lot of effort and time. I have to say that, every piece I've enjoyed, because I've been collecting them, looking at them, and just seeing the patients come to my office, dropping them off, and the pride. They've literally put their heart and soul and thought. So I'm very proud to showcase so much talent, stories, and especially today. Like today had to be extremely rewarding to actually get to meet a lot of the artists and to see how proud they were was, I don't know, I think I'm very happy to be part of it. I love it. I wish we could do this 2-3 times a year, maybe. Yeah. Even more. It shouldn't be a one-time event. I think it should be 3 times.
I'm with you on that. But I do know what I'm going to do going forward. Everyone I know that takes classes in whether it's our craft classes, art classes, anything like that, someone that has a bent for drawing or doodling, I'm going to encourage everybody, do something throughout the year. Save one thing that for some reason or other you like, and make sure that it gets to Amanda for the next art show. Because this is fabulous, but this is a small portion of some of the abilities within this building. And I just so would like everybody to be able to walk in here and go, yeah, that's mine. Take their friends and show them, that's mine. Take their parents and show them and say, I did this yesterday, last month, last year. It's very rewarding, and I think you two should do something too.
We'll work on it.
Self-portraits?
Yeah.
No, that would not be a good idea.
Fair enough.
Well, for the time being, we'll just encourage other people to come and enjoy the art during the month of June.
Yep.
And we'll keep people posted on the artwork through social media and different channels that we have. And we'll let them know what we're doing next year. So thank you both for joining us and talking about this. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
much.